Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Waterworks Board meeting for September 9th, 2020 at 7:04 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Troxel, would you please take roll call?
Councilman Kevin Conley.
Present.
Councilman Thomas Schmidt.
Here.
Councilman Caleb Johnson.
Here.
Councilman Ron Getzlaff. Shows absence. Councilwoman Robin Arvanitis.
Here.
Attorney David Austrian. Present. Police Chief Pete Solmas.
Here.
Public Works Andy Hansen.
Present.
Neil Sinstad, Police Engineering.
Here.
Jeff Hewitt, Public Works Director. Here. Jim Gorman, Director of Operations. Here. Robert Volkman, Town Manager. Here. Robin Teal, Recording Secretary.
Present.
And Michael Troxel, Clerk Treasurer. Here.
Thank you. The Waterworks Board consists of 3 members, Tom Schmidt, Kevin Conley, and myself, Robin Arvanitis. The first item on the agenda for the Waterworks Board meeting is the minutes of the August 12th, 2020 meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Next on the agenda is claims. Mr. Troxel, are there any additional claims?
No additional claims, Madam President.
So move on claims. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Claims passed 3-0. Next on the agenda would be reports. Are there any reports, Mr. Volkman?
No reports.
Are there any additional reports from any council members?
No, ma'am.
There is no old business. There is no new business. At this time, is there any business from the floor? Any business from the floor?
Yes. Yes.
So no business from the floor. This meeting is adjourned.
We're glad to see the excitement. Call to order the redevelopment meeting for August 12th, 2020. Time is 7:07 p.m. We'll bring Councilman Caleb Johnson into the fold for the redevelopment commission meeting. Minutes of the August 12th meeting. Pleasure to report. So moved. Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 4-0. Claims, any additional claims, Mr. Troxel?
No, Mr. President, no more claims.
Pleasure to report.
Motion to approve the claims.
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion on claims? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 4-0. Reports, Mr. Wolfman?
No reports.
Council members?
No reports.
Thank you. We have no old business, we have no new business. Any business from the floor regarding redevelopment? Any business from the floor regarding redevelopment? Any business from the floor? This meeting is adjourned.
Good evening. I'd like to call the utility board meeting for Wednesday, September 9th at approximately 7:07 p.m. First item on the agenda is the minutes. First of all, I'm sorry, the roll call for the utility board is the same as the redevelopment. Second item is the minutes of the August 12th public meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Claims. Next item is claims. Any additional claims, Mr. Troxel?
No additional claims, Mr. President.
Move to approve claims.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Any reports, Mr. Volkman, any reports on utilities?
No reports.
Mr. Simstead, any reports?
No reports.
Mr. Hewitt, and Mr. Hanson, any reports from Public Works on utilities?
No reports.
Thank you. Any reports from council members?
No, sir.
Okay, we have no old business, no new business for utility board. At this time, I'll open it up to the floor. Any comments from the floor regarding utilities? Any comments from the floor regarding utilities? No comments. This meeting's adjourned. We'll go right into the town council meeting. Thank you. I'd like to call the town council meeting for September 9th, approximately at 7:09 p.m. now. The roll call for the town council stays the same as the utility board. First item on the agenda is the minutes of the August 12th public meeting.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Claims, any additional claims, Mr. Johnson?
No additional claims, Mr. President.
Move to approve claims.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second on claims. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Reports, Mr. Volkman? Any
Yes,
reports?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have one report. As I've reported to you in the past, we've been working with Colleen DeVries from Phi Kappa on the possibility of putting a safe haven baby box in one of our fire stations. You know, Bob Patterson was not here tonight, as he's in Ohio picking up new ambulance. But you know, I would look for we've got all the paperwork from Safe Haven. You know, they still have to come out and evaluate Fire Station 3 for the compatibility of installing the Safe Haven box at that location. And we have contracts which Mr. Austin is reviewing right now, the contract and lease for Safe Haven. What I look for from the council is for authorization for Mr. Austin and I to complete that transaction based on his review and approval of lease documents.
Thank you, Mr. Volkman. And Mr. Austin, that is correct. You have all the paperwork that you need?
I don't know if I have all that I need, but I have all that I've been provided. I am reviewing that, so I will get.
And just to confirm, Bob, I guess I want to make sure, is there a cost to the town for this, or are they raising funds, or is this a grant basis program? How is this working?
The Safe Haven box, from the documents that I read, is a lease agreement. Phi Kappa wants to engage in fundraising. It's about $15,000 to purchase or enter into this lease, purchase the box, and have it installed at a location. There is some ongoing cost involved in maintaining the Safe Haven box. It has to be inspected every year. There's alarm connections and things like that. But the cost of maintaining it are very minimal.
Mr. President, I make a motion to authorize town manager and town attorney to finalize this contract and agreement with Phi Kappa for the Safe Haven box.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second on the floor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries 4-0. Any more reports, Mr. Volkman?
No more reports.
Mr. Simstead, any reports?
No reports, Mr. President.
Mr. Gorman, any reports?
No reports.
Mr. Hewitt?
No reports.
Mr. Troxel?
No additional reports.
Council members?
Sir?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll move on then. Next item is the public comments regarding any agenda items. Is there any public comments regarding any agenda items?
It's still not you guys yet.
They're all great now.
Yeah, we have a public comment section at the end of the meeting, but
There'll be business from the floor, it's almost at the end.
okay, we'll move right into, there's no old business. We're going to move into new business. First item on the agenda is item A is ordinance 1957, an ordinance amending town zoning ordinance number 1797 as amended, the same being an ordinance classifying, regulating, and restricting location, height, area, bulk, and the use of buildings and structures and use of land in the town of Sherrill, and for said purposes dividing the town into districts and all matters related thereto. This was Planning Commission case number 20-7-9. The address is 1445 Lincoln Highway, Deanne and Renata Pavick, where the petitioners changed from institution IN to residential R1. And it comes with a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission of 5-0. Mr. Volkel?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is the property, if you recall, it's immediately east of the township center. It was actually township center at one time. That's why it was zoned institutional. It was owned by the township center. Mr. Pavick has bought that property, resides in it, and runs a home-based business out of it. It has, he is cleaning up the plotting of the property. He's gone through plotting subdivision. This is the first part of that. We changed the zoning to R1 for single-family dwelling, and that's what exists on the property now.
Mr. Volkman, correct me if I'm wrong, this property is deed restricted to be residential. That's what it has to be.
That is correct.
So he's just bringing it back into compliance.
He's bringing it in conformance with the deed restrictions that exist on the property now.
And Mr. Volkman, I have a question. Now, is there any more procedures that he is going to have to follow through the Planning Commission with the property?
I believe he still has to go through the subdivision as well. That has to finalize the subdivision on the property. It's a plotting process. It's probably no meets and bounds restriction. We also have been in the BZA, which is your next case on next item on the agenda as well.
No, the BZA is fine.
Oh, that was well done. BZA is done.
So what we're rolling on tonight is basically it's just a rezoning to turn it back to the R1, which is required for that area.
Right.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Johnson.
I would make a motion to approve ordinance 1957, an ordinance amending town zoning ordinance number 1797 as amended, the same being an ordinance classifying, regulating, and restricting the location, height, area, bulk, and use of buildings and structures and use of land in the town of Cherville, and for said purposes dividing the town into districts and all matters related thereto. Plan Commission Case 20-7-9, 1445 Lincoln Highway. John and Regana Pavick, change from institutional IN to residential R1 based upon the favorable recommendation of the Plan Commission 5-0.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
President, adopt the reading, single reading only on the zoning ordinance.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Dave.
Adopt. There should have been a motion to adopt the ordinance. Not a
Second.
motion to approve. Sorry.
Then my second as well.
Okay, we have a amended motion, amended second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0 on the adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Item B is resolution 2020-14. It's a resolution authorizing entry into the 2020 equipment loan agreement with People's Bank for purchasing of equipment for the town municipal fire department and all matters related thereto. Mr. Johnson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Council members, last month you authorized me to go out for bids for a new ambulance that we're actually our fire chief is out there today in Ohio to pick up. The agreement last month was to allow some financing for this, and I did bid out with 5 different, some local banks regarding financing of the ambulance, which totals with equipment $315,712 and some change. With that, People's Bank was the most responsive and successful bidder at 2.10% interest rate for a 5-year term. So with that, this resolution you have before you is to authorize the town council president, Dave Smith, to sign the loan documentation with People's Bank for the financing for this item for 5 years.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Mr. President, move to approve resolution 2020-14 for Council President Township to sign off on the finance agreement.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Item C is consider variance of use to allow a 12 by 24 changing face LED billboard advertising sign to be located within the US 41 Commercial Corridor Overlay District. This was a Board of Zoning Appeals case 20-7-24. Petitioner is SEC Route 4167 LLC. Location is west of 1465 US 41. I'd like to read a letter into the minutes of this request and on this item. And this was addressed to Tom Schmidt, the President of the Town Council. Our client is Route 41 and 67 LLC. This was the Board of Zoning Appeals case 20-7-24, scheduled on the Town Council agenda for tonight. Dear Mr. Schmidt, our law firm has recently retained to represent the petitioner in this matter, as well as one which is still pending at the Board of Zoning Appeals to be heard at the BZA's regular scheduled meeting on Monday, September 28th. On behalf of the petitioner, I am still gathering information and documentation relative to both requests. That is the one currently pending at the BZA and the one that's before you tonight on Wednesday evening. I would respectfully request that the Town Council defer this matter until our October meeting so that both can be heard on conjunction with each other. Further, I have a conflicting meeting this evening in any event and would not be able to attend the Town Council meeting. Therefore, for both reasons, I respectfully request a deferral to October meeting. Thank you for your consideration on this matter, and should you have any questions or problems relative to this request, please let me know. Very truly yours, James Weezer, attorney at law.
Mr. President, ma'am.
Yes.
Mr. Town Manager, just want to confirm for the record that we have 90 days to act on this petition, correct? And we are still within that 90 days if we act on this at the October 14 meeting.
We are. This was actually taken July 27th at the BZA, and you have 90 days with which to act on the recommendation.
Mr. President, I would make a motion to defer this item to the October 14, 2020 meeting of the Town Council.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for deferral. All in favor until the October 14th meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Next item on the agenda is item D, consider a sponsorship to Campanas Academy's annual fundraiser, Restoring the Hope and Building Dreams of 2020, scheduled online auction from October 29, 2020 through November 5th, 2020. They're asking for a $1,000 donation to being a sponsor. Mr. Volkman, this is pretty much an annual donation.
Annual contribution.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve that contribution. $1,000 to Campaign Academy's annual fundraiser.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Item E is consider donation to the Nick Foundation for the Great Gold Rush Race for $1,000 also. Mr. Volkman.
Again, we've been sponsors of the Nick Foundation for several years.
Mr. President, I want to approve the donation of $1,000 to the Nick Foundation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Item F is proclaimed September 21st to 27th, 2020 as the National Rail Safety Week in the town of Sherrill. I have a proclamation I'd like to read into the record. This is the National Rail Safety Week for the town of Sherrill, whereas 2,220 rail grade crossing collisions resulted in 812 personal injuries and were responsible for 294 fatalities in the United States during the year of 2019. And whereas 1,111 trespassing incidents have occurred in the United States, resulting in 579 pedestrians being killed and another 532 injured, while while trespassing on railroad property rights away during 2019. And whereas educating and informing the public about rail safety, reminding the public that railroad right-of-ways are private property, enhancing public awareness of the dangers associated with the highway rail grade crossings, ensuring pedestrians and motorists are looking and listening while near railways, and obeying established traffic laws will reduce the number of fatalities and injuries. And whereas the International Association of Chief of Police, National Operation Lifesaver, the United States Department of Transportation, and all local, state, county, and railroad law enforcement officers, first responders, and railroad corporations committed to partnering together in an effort to educate at a national level all aspects of railroad safety, to enforce applicable laws in support of the National Rail Safety Week. Now therefore, I, Thomas J. Smith, President of the Town Council of Sherwood, Indiana, do hereby attest my full support for claiming September 21st through the 27th of 2020 National Rail Safety Week, and I encourage all citizens to recognize the importance of rail safety education. Dated this day, the 9th of September 2020.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Next item is, on the agenda is consider acceptance of donations for $680. Mr. Johnson, would you read those donations for us?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Donation accepted through the end of August were total $680. The Park Department received from Toll Mocheski miscellaneous donation of $100 for the Park Department. The Police K-9 Program received from Sherwood residents K-9 donations T-shirts $340. Stephanie Bodinger K-9 donation T-shirt $40. Cynthia Sheffield K-9 donation memory of Mark Holzhauser $200. Total K-9 program $580. Total donations for the month are $680.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Motion to approve donations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Before I open it to the floor, I missed our police chief back there earlier. Mrs. Hormaz, did you have any comments or anything you needed to make?
Nothing to report tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Also, I do want to announce that our Sherwood's 9/11 event will be scheduled for Friday. And please, if everyone gets a chance, please go and pay respects to our monument out there. And we will have a video that will be playing all day long from 8:30 a.m. until roughly 7 at night, I believe it is. So please do that. And we also have our Chambers corn roast. It's Saturday night, coming up on the 12th, from 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
The band goes till 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you, Caleb.
And that's at Reeder Park.
And that's at Reeder Park, the corn roast.
It's not gonna rain.
At this time, I'll open it up to the floor. Any business from the floor? Please step up and please step up and say your name and address.
Good evening, Mr. President, Sherwood Town Council. My name is Dr. Montreville. I am the current president for the Tri-Town Raiders youth football and cheer. If I can, I have copies of small agenda for you guys to put in mind. I'm currently here looking for some donation of financial help for our organization. Approximately 30 years ago, we had a scoreboard put in. One year council were on the Sherwood Lions Club. Mr. Koslav, I believe that's how you say his name. If I pronounce it, I'm sorry. Basically, trying to see if Sherrville would be willing to help us out as far as donation goes for a new school board. Currently, right now, we are a nonprofit organization, so we pretty much we fund almost all the kids of Sherrville, all the Tri-Town area, Dyer, and St. John. And we're looking if you guys would be willing to help us out in purchasing a new scoreboard for us.
What's the cost of the scoreboard?
Approximately right now, when we got from the same company itself, is about $7,000. We will be looking maybe to get maybe another bid on it, or somewhere else we might get a little maybe a reasonable price. But as of right now, that's what we're looking at right now.
And when do you plan on installing?
As soon as once we get the funds for it, then we just have to see how the installation and all that, we're see if we can cover that as well, as soon as possible. It probably wouldn't be until next season. We've already started the season now. And a lot of the home, like, you guys are aware of all the COVID-19 issues that we're having right now. A lot of the towns are relying on our field to play on, and the scoreboard pretty much is outdated. And then as far as the parts go, they're obsolete, and they're real parts themselves are just hard to get and to replace. So pretty much the scoreboard itself is just like almost on its last round.
Have you undertaken any fundraising to fund this up to date?
Yes.
Do you have something ready to go? Is there, how much is, are you looking for the full 7,000 from us, I guess?
If it's possible, yes, if it's possible, or right now we are getting donations that are coming in as we speak from small places that we usually get them year round, but I guess because of this year's pandemic, they were, the donation amounts were a little bit less than they were, and then field maintenance is another thing that we spend the money on as well, cutting the grass, making sure the bleachers are up to date. Cleaning supplies, stuff like that, new equipment, league fees that we pay on and all that.
So you made some fundraising efforts, to your point.
Yeah.
Not like the year before that, COVID's had quite an impact on
Right.
small business.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you right now in terms of the fundraising amount that you've been able to receive?
The amount right now we're at is, I want to say, about $1,200. I would say that's about where we're at right now.
Any other questions? Yeah, no. Normally we do request a written letter with any requests, and I see that you supplied that to us just now, basically, after reading the letter here.
Do you recall when the last time you got a donation from the town of Sugarloaf was?
You know what? I'm not. I would say. I believe they said last year. It's my first. It's our president now, so I mean I wasn't on the board. I believe it was last year. I believe they did a donation.
So I didn't hear your question, Robin.
I asked when the last time you received a donation from the town of Sugarloaf
What about Dyer and St. John? Are they contributing?
We reached out to them. St. John, we have also reached out to them as well. We haven't heard anything back yet. Dyer as well, we reached out to, I want to say about a month or two ago. Still haven't heard anything as far as, I think we were going to try to schedule a town meeting with them. It seems like they reschedule a lot.
What's the percentage of the participation from the three towns?
I want to say.
I know Cheryl's bigger
Sure.
than Dyer than St. John, but I mean, you get a participation of all three towns.
Just about. I think get more of between Sherrill and St. John, and then Dyer as well. So I would say Sherrill's probably 60%, then comes St. John, and then Dyer at the end.
Mr. Traxel, do we have any information about what we've donated in the past, when the last time was? I know you just got this request as well, so you probably don't have the information in hand, but.
Yeah, I do not come tonight. I do not. I wasn't prepared to know they were going to come tonight. Otherwise, I would have had that record of past information given.
And Mr. Traxel, I guess I have a question also. On those type of donations, do they come from more than one different fund, or do you just have a certain fund that it would come out of?
Well, most likely a certain one fund we would come out of, that would be promotional fund, and that's a fund that we would, for town events and so forth, that we could take it out of on that. Being that this is a tri-town, sponsored, organization, I would hope the other two municipalities would also be contributing towards this scoreboard too. But it would, yes, we have a promotional fund for that.
Would this significantly hamper you in your pursuit if we were to defer this till next month to decide on the amount or whether we're going to give a donation? Would that hurt you guys significantly, or are you guys okay to wait?
I can say, yeah, we can wait if we needed to. Yeah, because right now we got current games running right now. Coming in there, and they said when we had the refs come out, and scoreboard's been there for over 30 years since the last time it was installed, and like I said, we're having trouble with it to really come out and see if we can go support if we can.
So there's 60% participation, you're guessing, right, from Cherville residents?
Yes.
Okay, pretty close approximation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'd like to see what the other, communities might be willing to contribute, just based on that allocation. I think there's interest to support the organization. But I think what Mr. Caleb Johnson was saying, I'd like to kind of hear what the other communities are going to do. I kind of have an idea, I think what we can do, just kind of based on your percentage participation. But I'd like to see the other two make a commitment as well.
Yeah.
But I think there is a commitment from us. Just, I don't think we're ready right now. We always want to make a decision, right, financial decision on what we want to contribute to the Tri-Town Raiders.
Okay.
Great organization, by the way.
Yes.
My son participated.
As well.
If it's okay with the council, I would advise Mr. Volkman to put it on next month's agenda.
That sounds good.
Sounds great.
We'll have it on October agenda.
October, Jim?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You be persistent when we see you have a diary.
Yes, I will.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President,
Yes.
just I'm going to request ask for any additional information regarding the scoreboard to be forwarded to the town manager for review of that.
Yes. I don't know if you heard that. If you can supply any additional information about the scoreboard to our town manager.
Get town manager Bob Wolf.
I'll get his information for you.
Okay.
Is there any other business from the floor?
Can we add to that?
Yes.
Person? I just had to say, my daughter's on the cheer squad and we're a nationally ranked team.
Can you state your name?
I'm sorry, I'm on Germany. I'm a resident here. I've been here for 39 years. My daughter's on the cheer squad. My son's on the football team. The cheer squad's a nationally ranked team. We ranked second in the nation just this past year. The field is in Cherville, and I feel like people are looking at Cherville in a certain way when they see the field, as opposed to it's not in Dyer, it's not in St. John. Granted, it is tri-town, but the field alone is in Cherville, and I think when people come and see how the scoreboard doesn't work at all, and they see how the field is and how it's hard to keep up with a not-for-profit thing, kind of looks at Cherville as, this is your town, this is your field. We need to make it presentable for other outside places.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
And like I said, our commitment is here. I think it's just a matter of financial
Right.
what we can do. We do get requests from many nonprofit organizations in Cherville.
Right.
We just want to make sure we're consistent.
No, I just wanted to add that in.
That's a good point, like you did.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. I would like to see the other communities contribute.
Yeah, exactly,
You
same.
know, but I 100% agree with what you're saying.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, can you state your address too?
It's 6500 Coyote Lane.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Any Any other additional comments from the floor? Yes, sir. Step up and say your name, please.
I
Name and address, please.
actually didn't die here, but but I couldn't participate with the chart.
It's a lot.
A lot of things, I think so. But no, I'm good. So I want to kind of add to what President of Fortune 5 Belmont Way, Diary, your name, Patrick Rodriguez. Yeah, I wanted to add a little bit of what Rudy was asking, right? Aside from the scoreboard, you know, there's the bleachers are in shambles. They're falling apart. There's areas we have blocked off. There's just unsafe for people to sit in. Just overall, a lot of the donations that come in go to what we can to help just keep the field sustainable, just right to the point where it's functional for games, right? And as Rudy alluded to COVID-19 issue that's going on right now, we're getting a lot more visibility from other towns because the field is being used more frequently. Because a lot of other towns, Portage as an example, I believe, you know, they don't have fields, or even Hammond, et cetera, right? They don't have fields, and because of that, the Schererville field is definitely getting a lot more recognition, a lot more visibility, and of course, being in the Schererville area, it is a bit of a reflection, as previously mentioned. Aside from the request from the scoreboard, I was wondering if it would be preferential to the board, just to kind of give you just a list, right? Here's a scoreboard and things that we're actually trying to improve within the field as a whole, right? Just so you have an idea of how tight and how much we need and how little we actually have to progress and to reflect the way we want to reflect Tri-Town as an organization, as well as, you know, share with the home base for it. Would it be possible to, along with the letter from the board and more than detail, to kind of actually draft up more detail, you know, the bleachers and other needs that we have, just really big needs just for safety as well as maintenance within the field and supply it to the town, just so you have an overall outlook of, you know, where we are, what we actually could really use and need to give our kids what they deserve. Is that something that is feasible that we can provide?
I think that's very appropriate. I don't know that we are in a position as a town to be able to fund all of those repairs, of course, but it certainly helps us to understand where you're coming from, what you need, and how you're going to get there. And some of that is the financial side of it. You know, what are you doing to raise this money? What fees are coming in? Where is the money going? How is it being handled to you know, adequately maintain the premises so that we know this money's not being spent on vacations for all of you folks instead of paying for repairs to the bleachers. You know, I just want to make sure we're supporting a good organization. I know we are. I've been involved with it, but it's a good organization, but we want to make sure where this current status is and where things are going.
Of course. I completely understand, right? And I think the objective is not to say, hey, we need all this, please help. It's just a matter of just kind of helping to build visibility around kind of where we are and what we're really trying to do for the community.
Yeah, we would ask you to supply that information to our town manager.
Most definitely.
So all the details of what you mentioned would be best if it was in letter form.
Yes.
And addresses.
We actually kind of had a kind of got, you know, but we'll definitely we'll talk with you guys and we'll work on getting all that. And then, of course, we want to have it for the next month's meeting, correct?
Yes.
Beautiful. All right.
As soon as possible.
Great. All right. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate all of you coming tonight.
Mr. President,
Yes.
if you can also include any type of financial statements or any tax returns that the organization has been filing up to date, so we can have those records to review. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the floor? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Jim Thunderlick. I'm a longtime resident of Schererville. I'm also a heart disease mitral valve regurgitation, irregular heartbeat, and the owner of the house at 220 West 67th. Sure. Recently I got this total violation. And, I was working with a couple of people, and Mr. Boltman recently to rectify the situation. They called the office today and was not reaching. And I've been unable to reach the other two people. In the meantime, I have this letter.
Sir, excuse me.
Yes.
Please speak into the mic.
Okay.
The mic.
I have this cutoff date of October 9th in resultant fees of $75 to $7,500 per day. This came back right out of the blue, as they say. That house has been there, and it's been in disrepair for a long time. Then the pipe got put in. Now it's visible to people. So if you could help me, give me some guidance, what to do. I don't have the skill set to rebuild the unsafe structure. I want to demolish it. And that's what we're in the process of doing. So we're going to check it in this meeting with Mr. Williams. And if he can assist me, I don't know if the people that were involved want to back out of the deal now or what. But at any time, your task for your help and your guidance in resolving this issue.
Mr. Goldman, are you familiar with?
I am, yeah, this is a code enforcement issue, and I can work with Jim.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Goldman, please come and see him, and staff will work with you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other comments from the floor? Any other comments from the floor? No other comments? This meeting is adjourned.